Hi guys, this is Mrs. Zappia. Welcome to the first lesson of the year with Module 1, Lesson 1, an experience in relationships as measuring rate. The student outcomes for this lesson are: students compute unit rates associated with ratios of quantities measured in different units. And students use the context of the problem to recall the meaning of the value of a ratio, equivalent ratios, rate, and unit rate, relating them to the context of the experience. If you come across questions that you would like to ask in class, anything that you didn't understand, you will have the opportunity to address these at the beginning of the next class. So if you have any questions, you can pause the video and write them down and then continue. Please turn to page 2 in your textbook and copy down the essential questions. Number 1, what is the unit rate and how do you find it? And number 2, what is the value of a ratio? Pause the video and copy the essential questions. Example 1, how fast is our class? We are going to record the results from the paper passing exercise in the table below. So there is a group of students and they are going to pass their papers in to the front of the classroom and record how long it takes in seconds. For trial 1, 24 papers were passed and it took 12 seconds. In trial 2, 24 papers were passed and it took 11 seconds. In trial 3, 24 papers were passed and it took 10 seconds. Next, we'll fill in the ratio of the number of papers passed compared to the time. Remember that a ratio is a comparison of two numbers. So our first ratio is 24 papers to 12 seconds. We could also divide both of those by the common factor of 2 and write it as 12 to 6. Notice in the first ratio that I used a colon, and in the second ratio I used the word to. Either way is a way to express a ratio. In trial 2, the ratio is 24 to 11. And this can also be written as a fraction, with the first quantity being the numerator and the second quantity being the denominator. In the third trial, it was 24 to 10. And in the first, when you're writing the ratios as a rate, you will include the quantity in the ratio. And you can use any of these ratios. For our first rate, we'll say that the rate is 24 papers per 12 seconds. In trial 2, the rate is 24 papers per 11 seconds. And in trial 3, we could either use 24 to 10 or 48 to 20. And let's say that the rate is 48 papers per 20 seconds. The unit rate is expressing the amount for 1 second. It is the amount for one of the second quantities. To find the unit rate, you divide the first quantity divided by the second quantity. So 24 divided by 12 is 2 papers per second. In the second trial, 24 divided by 11 is 2.18 repeating. So we'll round that to 2.2 papers per second. And in the third trial, 24 divided by 10 is 2.4 papers per second. Next, we'll go over the key terms. As we go through these, pause the video and copy these onto your paper. A ratio is an ordered pair of non-negative numbers which are both not zero. A rate is a ratio of two quantities, such as 55 miles per 22 hours. And a unit rate is a value of a ratio, quantity 1 divided by quantity 2. In this case, it is 55 miles in 22 hours, which is 2.5 miles per hour. This means a car travels 2.5 miles in 1 hour. In example 2, our class by gender, we are measuring two quantities in the same unit, which is people. Class 1, the number of boys is 5, and the number of girls is 13. In Class 2, the number of boys is 11, and the number of girls is 14. In Class 3, the number of boys is 11, and the number of girls is 12. In Class 4, the number of boys is 10, and the number of girls is 16. Next, write the ratio of boys to girls, 5 to 13. Pause the video and write the ratio of boys to girls for Class 2, Class 3, and Class 4. Then check your answers to make sure you have done them correctly. 11 to 14, 11 to 12, and 10 to 16. And in Class 5, we're going to leave Class 5 blank for now. We're going to fill in the whole 7th grade class next, and then you can go back to Class 5 and figure out the missing numbers. For the whole class, there are 50 students that are boys. There are 65 students that are girls, and the ratio is 50 to 65. Now pause the video and go back and see if you can figure out the number of boys for Class 5, the number of girls for Class 5, and then the ratio of boys to girls for Class 5. And then resume the video. So to find those missing numbers, you add up the number of boys and subtract that from 50. And the answer is 13. For the number of girls, add up the number of girls, subtract that number from 65, and the answer is 10. And so your last ratio is 13 to 10. Create a pair of equivalent ratios by making a comparison of quantities discussed in this example. So a pair of equivalent ratios will mean that you have a common factor that you divide by or a common multiplier that you use. So let's do that both ways. Let's start with the Class 4, the ratio of 10 to 16. In the ratio of 10 to 16, a common factor, a number divisible into 10 and 16, is 2. So we'll divide the numerator and the denominator by the same number to create an equivalent ratio. 10 divided by 2 is 5, and 16 divided by 2 is 8. So an equivalent ratio is 5 to 8. In another example, we'll take one of the ratios. We'll use Class 5, the ratio of 13 to 10, and we'll use a multiplier. And let's multiply by 3. you use the same multiplier for the numerator and the denominator. And so our equivalent ratio is 39 over 10, also written as 39 to 10. In exercise 3, which is the better buy? Value Mart is advertising a back-to-school sale on pencils. A pack of 30 pencils sells for $7.97, whereas a 12-pack of the same brand costs $4.77. And we want to know which is the better buy, and how do you know? You can tell which is the better buy when the package sizes are different by finding out the cost of one pencil from each package. So the pack of 30 sells for $7.97. So our ratio, the cost is the first number, $7.97, and for that you get 30 pencils. The rate is how much it's going to cost for one pencil. So $7.97 divided by 30, that works out to 27 cents per pencil. Remember that the unit rate is for one item. Then the pack of 12. The cost is the numerator, $4.77, and it is for 12 pencils. $4.77 divided by 12 works out to 40 cents per pencil. Remember that the rate is the amount for one pencil. The cost then, 4.77 divided by 12 works out to 40 cents per pencil. The better buy is the package where the pencil costs the least amount. So the pack of 30 is the better value. And I know that because one pencil costs 27 cents, which is less than 40 cents. From the pack of 12. In closing, how is finding an associated rate or a unit rate helpful when making comparisons between quantities? The unit rate tells you the number of units of one quantity per 1 unit of the second quantity. For example, a unit price of 0.4 means one pencil from a pack of 12 costs 40 cents. The lesson summary. This is what we have learned in today's lesson. The unit rate is often useful means for comparing ratios and their associated rates when measured in different units. The unit rate allows us to compare varying sizes of quantities by examining the number of units of one quantity per 1 unit of the second quantity. The value of the ratio is the unit rate.